Writing. From a small village to a great dream. Part 4. High School Dreams. The last bell of middle school echoed through the hallways of Willowbrook Middle School. Students cheered, hugged their friends, and rushed outside to begin their summer holidays. Some would never return, choosing different schools or moving to other towns. Ethan Parker stood near the school gate with his best friend Oliver Brown. "We've finished middle school," Oliver said with a smile. Ethan looked back at the building where they had spent several unforgettable years. "It feels like yesterday we were nervous children walking into our first classroom." Oliver laughed. "And now we're going to high school." Neither of them realized that high school would become the most challenging chapter of their young lives. The summer holidays passed quickly. On a bright September morning, Ethan and Oliver arrived at Westbridge High School, one of the best public schools in the county. The building was much larger than any school they had attended before. Hundreds of students filled the campus, each carrying dreams of their own. Some hoped to become doctors. Others dreamed of becoming engineers, teachers, artists, scientists, or athletes. Ethan quietly whispered to himself, "One day I will make my parents proud." Their new homeroom teacher was Mrs. Eleanor Adams, an experienced teacher known for expecting the very best from her students. On the first day, she wrote a single sentence across the board. "Success belongs to those who refuse to quit." She turned toward the class. "Many of you are intelligent," she said. "But intelligence alone is never enough. Discipline, honesty, and perseverance are what truly creates success." Ethan carefully copied the sentence into his notebook. His collection of inspiring quotes continued to grow. High school was far more demanding than middle school. Every subject required deeper understanding. Mathematics introduced algebra and geometry. Science lessons involved detailed laboratory experiments. English classes required essays, debates, and presentations. History became filled with dates, events, and critical thinking. Every evening, Ethan followed the same routine. He helped his mother prepare dinner. He finished household chores. He studied for several hours. Before sleeping, he spent 30 minutes reading a book that was not part of his homework. He believed that learning should never stop. At home, however, life remained difficult. Thomas found work only a few days each week. Sarah continued sewing clothes late into the night. Bills continued to arrive. One evening, Ethan noticed his parents whispering in the kitchen. They stopped talking when he entered. But he had already understood. Money was becoming an even greater problem. That night, Ethan made another promise to himself. "I will help my family however I can." The following weekend, Ethan visited Mr. Harris, the village librarian. "Do you still need help organizing books?" Ethan asked. Mr. Harris smiled warmly. "I was hoping you would ask." Soon, Ethan began working every Saturday and Sunday afternoon at the library. He arranged books, repaired damaged covers, helped children find stories, and assisted elderly visitors. The pay was small, but every pound mattered. Instead of spending his earnings on himself, Ethan quietly handed most of the money to his mother. Sarah looked at him with tears in her eyes. "You should keep it." Ethan shook his head. "We're a family." Months passed. Winter arrived once again. Snow covered the village roads. One evening, Oliver visited Ethan carrying a stack of notebooks. "I thought we could study together," he said. The boys spent hours solving mathematics problems and preparing for upcoming examinations. Sometimes they became frustrated. Sometimes they laughed at their mistakes. Whenever one of them understood a difficult lesson, he immediately explained it to the other. Their friendship continued to grow stronger with every challenge. Early in the spring semester, Mrs. Adams announced exciting news. Our school has been invited to participate in the National Academic Excellence Competition. The room became silent. This competition includes students from some of the best schools in England. Only 4 students would represent Westbridge High School. The selection examinations would be extremely difficult. Every student wanted one of those places. For weeks, Ethan studied harder than ever before. He woke before sunrise. He revised during lunch breaks. He solved extra practice questions at the library. Some classmates thought he was studying too much. But Ethan remembered his mother's words. Great people never stop learning. Selection day finally arrived. Hundreds of students filled the examination hall. The test lasted 3 hours. Some questions seemed impossible. When Ethan finished, he wasn't sure whether he had done well enough. Several anxious days passed. Finally, the results were posted outside the principal's office. Students crowded around the notice board. Oliver searched the list. Suddenly he shouted, "Ethan, you did it!" Ethan hurried forward. His name appeared at the top. He had earned the highest score in the entire school. Oliver had also qualified. The 2 friends smiled proudly. Their hard work had paid off. The national competition took place in London. For Ethan, it was his first visit to the capital city. Tall buildings stretched toward the sky. Busy streets were filled with people from many different backgrounds. The competition lasted 2 days. Students solved scientific problems, mathematical puzzles, and general knowledge questions. The final round was especially challenging. Teams competed under strict time limits. When the judges announced the final results, Westbridge High School finished in first place. The audience applauded loudly. Mrs. Adams proudly congratulated her students. "You represented this school with honor." Ethan received a gold medal for outstanding academic achievement. Looking at the medal in his hands, he thought not about himself, but about his parents waiting back home. When Ethan returned to Willowbrook, the entire village welcomed him. Neighbors congratulated him. Mr. Harris proudly displayed a newspaper article about the competition inside the library. Thomas looked at the medal carefully. "I never had opportunities like this," he said quietly. Ethan smiled. "Everything I achieve belongs to this family." Sarah hugged her son. "Our greatest treasure has never been money." Ethan nodded. "It has always been love." Near the end of his first year in high school, Mrs. Adams asked every student to write a letter to their future self. Most students wrote about careers, money, or travel. Ethan wrote something different. "Dear future Ethan, if you are reading this, I hope you never forget where you came from. Never become proud because of success. Never ignore people who need help. Always remember the kindness of your parents, your teachers, and your best friend Oliver. If your dreams come true, use them to improve the lives of others. Stay humble. Keep learning. Never give up." Mrs. Adams carefully sealed every letter inside an envelope. "You'll receive these when you graduate." Ethan smiled. He wondered what kind of person he would become by then. As another school year came to an end, Ethan stood outside his home, looking up at the stars. His journey was far from over. The greatest challenges and the greatest opportunities still lay ahead. Little did he know that the coming years would test his courage, his friendship with Oliver, and his determination more than ever before. End of part 4. In part 5, Ethan will complete high school, prepare for university entrance exams, face unexpected family hardships, compete for a prestigious scholarship, begin college life, and take the first major step toward fulfilling the dream he has carried since childhood.